Hello, Smite fans. Welcome to the Smite Oceania Pro League, part of the Cybergamer Premier League. This is week one, day number one. We're back into competitive Smite in Oceania. I'm Husey. Joining me, a new face, we've got Lynx Clone.
It's a pleasure to be here, Husey. I'm really excited for this game of Avant vs former Avant. It's going to be super exciting.
And hopefully not too confusing, though. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at some of our teams as we get into this one. First up, we're going to take a look at Pandamonium. So you should see them on your screen very shortly. And Team Pandamonium, now they're the defending regional champions. As you know, they did go to Worlds under the Avant banner. Only one roster change in the offseason. Biggie leaving the team and Swayer being brought into to kind of fill in that support role. So, you know, it's going to be interesting to see how the team adapts to Swayer's playstyle. And obviously, there's going to be a leadership change. Lynx, how do you think the team dynamic will change without Biggie on the roster?
Without Biggie being the shot caller, I feel like it'll be up to Roy more likely to actually call all the shots as he's the jungler for the team.
Alrighty, so that's going to take us out of Pandamonium. The rest of the lineup remains the same. Let's go ahead and look at Avant. So, Avant finishing top of the qualifiers, getting into the OPL, consists of a team of... It's the only team in the OPL where all of the players have LAN experience. So, Mouse, Tomahawk, and Rob Diggity, all former Integral Nation players. El Chuckles was on Direwolves, the guys who finished second in the region, and Liquid Renegade was part of SYF Gaming. So you can see Avant there, made up of some experienced players. You know, Lynx Clone, who's the man to watch on Avant?
I feel like the man to watch in this game will be Mouse. Mouse has very strong rotation power, and I feel like he'll be doing a lot this game, depending on who he picks.
All right, so that's going to take us out of our team overviews. We're going to go ahead and head into picks and bans just a second. Before we get up to that screen, Lynx, what do you think is going to be kind of the key picks and bans in this game?
Athena is going to be a very contested pick this game just because the taunt is so strong this season. She still remains to be one of the strongest Guardians in the game. Chiron will be another very contested kind of pick due to the fact that he is one of the best ADCs early, mid, and late game. And basically in the jungle, I feel like Thor will be one of the more contested picks for the jungle.
So now that we are into the picks and bans, we can see first ban out by Team Pandemonium is going to be that Athena pick you mentioned. Next ban coming through from Avant is Janus.
Janus is actually quite a smart ban with this season, with the Doom War being so prevalent. Janus can output ridiculous amounts of damage, even in the mid game. When you land a 3 space and time, or even an unstable vortex, you can really layer up that damage. And once you get those stacks fully online, you are very hard to stop due to the fact that you can escape so easily and not die.
Next up in the bans list, we're going to see Bologna taken away by Team Pandemonium. Bologna, a very strong solo lane and jungle pick. Bologna is actually one of Liquid Renegade's favorite picks to play out of the jungle. He really likes the kind of junglers that can stick to you and really just be very annoying for you. Avant going to take away Raven.
Yeah, I like the Raven ban. Raven is one of those gods you can't really deal with in lane. He's just going to harass the hell out of you, and if you can't do anything, you simply just are forced it back due to the amount of onslaught coming out from him, as well as the bluestone that he will always be picking up.
First pick we're going to see out of Team Pandemonium, and first pick of the OPL is going to be Soul by Team Pandemonium. Now, this is a good pick. It's a flex pick. Could go either way of Ochita or Subfloor.
Yeah, I feel like it's most likely going to go into the mid lane just because they can apply a lot of pressure in the mid lane. And if they pick up something like an Isis, this is something they can actually contend with the power that comes from a level 1 to 3 Isis, which very few people can actually contend with. Do you think maybe it might be better in the ADC role, though?
No, I think Ochita's got quite a good soul. Next picks are going to be Khepri and Thor. He from Avant. So Khepri, a very strong support. Got the revive, which is really important. And Thor, an early game jungler. But that's kind of what you need in this new meta, is a lot of early game pressure. And Thor really provides that.
Oh yeah, Thor can do a lot. He has one of the best global rotations with the Anvil of Dawn. Once you hear that Anvil of Dawn from Gold Fury or Fire Giant, you can set up a lot of team fights in your advantage. But do you think there could be anything that could really counter the Thor in the jungle?
Maybe not necessarily counter, but let's take a look at what Pandemonium's got to do. Odin and Chiron picked up. So Chiron, not even touched by Avant. They're really prioritizing Khepri and Thor over probably the strongest AD carry in the game. And I guess that really answers the question of where Soul's going. While you can play Chiron mid, it's a little bit of a niche pick. And I really don't think that Pandemonium is going to be playing it that way.
Yeah, I highly doubt they'll be putting the Soul up against the Chiron. Soul is one of the very few. With the Stellar Burst, that is a great harass from Fire, like the training exercise that does come out from the Chiron, as well as the Masterful Shot.
Scylla, the final pick here for Team Pandemonium. And now we get into our next stage of bans. Scylla picked by Avant, I should say. I've already been confused. So now Avant going to ban away Geb here. Pandemonium banning away Apollo.
Oh, interesting banning the Apollo there, because you don't really see him, like, now that with a bit of a change to Frenzy, you might see him more due to his ability to split push, but I feel like you would maybe ban something more like the Medusa maybe, or even a Hu Yi.
Apollo's seen a little bit more playtime recently. Maybe it's just one of those flavor picks, and it's something that Avant just don't want to play against. The Mesmerize is strong against Charon's dash, able to basically mess him in place during the dash. Looking at the next set of bans here, we can see Avant going to take away Guan Yu. Pandemonium takes away Osiris. Straight away, picked up on the back of that, and this is a very odd pick to me. Amaterasu picked up here by Avant. Now, Amaterasu really suffers against Odin because she's got no way to get out of his cage. She's got a dash that's just going to run straight into the Ring of Spears.
Yeah, that's going to be a very interesting competition. I feel like Amaterasu is just going to have to be very careful and position herself in the team fight where she's with the rest of her team and try and stay a little bit back and wait for the Odin cage to come down. Even though most likely Odin will be picking up a blink, she just needs to be very careful of the timer of that blink. And if she can do that, she should be able to survive in the team fights and get off her dazzling gleam.
Next picks here for Team Pandemonium, Sobek and Awilix. So Ro, very famous for his Awilix in the oceanic scene, synergizes very well with the rest of his team. It basically takes away the Awilix counterpick to the Odin, even though Avant had already picked up Thor, but it synergizes well with Sobek's fling. Chiron's got a knock-up there. Soul's got a knock-up. Odin is pretty much the only one in the team without a knock-up, but 4 knock-ups for Awilix is going to be perfect for her to set up. Final pick here from Avant-Garde, Ho Yi.
I love Hu Yi. Hu Yi is such a strong pick in this game. Just because also Rob Diggity, very well known for playing the Hu Yi and using it very effectively last season. So I'm excited to see how Tomahawk and Rob Diggity both use that in the duo lane early on.
Alrighty, so looking at these team comps just as they stand now, Link's Clone, as we prepare to get into game, who do you think has got the stronger team comp?
I feel like, personally, I think it's going to be going to Avant-Garde. I feel like they have the slightly stronger team comp.
So the Avant-Garde comp, so kind of basically everything's set up for Scylla. See, I have to disagree with you there. I mean, the basic setup she's got is the Liquid Renegade ultimate, but late game is going to be harder and harder for him to really pick that up. I feel like Team Pandemonium have got exactly what they want in this one. They've got the Odin pick, which has just become so strong lately. And if you look at Avant-Garde's team comp, Tomahawk and Chuckles both don't have a way to get out of that ultimate. As well as that, there is both Mouse and Rob Diggity. They have escapes that can be picked on by the Awilix ult. So I feel like Pandemonium's got pretty much exactly what they want and are playing against exactly what they want.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Pandemonium have extremely good teamwork. Even with Sway, I feel like they can coordinate it very well and pull off that kind of rotation power and ganking style very well.
Good to see our first look at Sway here in competitive Oceanic Smite. You know, new kid on the block for Team Pandemonium, filling some big shoes with Biggie, who is widely considered to be one of the best players in the region. You got to think he's going to be feeling some pressure in this game.
Yes, he's got to very much feel the pressure. After B did such a strong impact early on, I think it was until week 5 he hadn't died, at least one. Like, that was a credible thing to see. But Sway, I feel like, can pull it off quite well. We'll see how we go with this one.
Alrighty, folks, we are to the game right now. This is game number 1, week number 1 of the Smite Oceania Pro League, part of the Cyber Gamer Premier League. Our first 2 teams going at it. Going to be Team Pandemonium up against Avant-Garde. Old Avant versus you, as you put it, Links. Let's go ahead and introduce our team. So on the left-hand side of your spectator UI, fighting under the blue health bars, we have got Team Pandemonium. Sporks is in the solo lane as Odin. Ro in the jungle as Awilix. Ochita in the mid lane with Soul, Swayer, and Subfloor. The new duo lane as Sobek and Chiron.
And on the red side, which is the right-hand side of your spectator UI, we have Amaterasu in the solo lane, played under El Chuckles. We have Liquid Renegade playing the Thor in the jungle. We have the other monster that is Scylla in the mid lane. And our duo lane will be made out of Tomahawk and Rob Diggity, who are on the Kepri and Hu Yi, respectively.
Alright, so something to note straight away in this one, both Ro and Achita have both gone power pot starts here, but Renegade has done the same on the side of Avant-Garde. So both teams looking for some early aggression. We can see some wards out early by both teams to spot out any invades.
Yeah, that is a very smart move. Like, you really want to get that as much vision as possible, especially around those kind of mid-camp area. It really does help with when you want to take on those mid-camps and contest those kind of camps.
Alrighty, so it looks like we've already hit some technical difficulties, folks. We're going to have to take a quick pause and then get right back to you.
after they came and destroyed the land, there was one spark of hope left for all of mankind.
Alrighty, folks, we are back after that short technical difficulty there. Straight into this one, as I was saying before, looking for some early aggression is both of these teams and some early wardage coming out to spot out any rotations.
Yep, those wards are nice and ready to see if anyone goes for those mid camps and just waiting to see who will take either the right or the left side mid camps, even though the right sides have been taken down.
What surprises me is that Mouse hasn't gone a purple pot start here. Scylla, considering he knows that Achita's soul will start the purple pot. Ro's gone red pot as well. He's got very little clear early in the game. It's going to be very difficult for him and Liquid Renegade to even contest any mid camps.
I think possibly that Mouse is worried that he's going to get killed on early because Soul has a lot better early aggression compared to the Scylla, who's more of a mid-late game character. So she doesn't want to waste that 450 gold that could be spent on a purple pot.
Ro immediately diving onto Mouse there, doing a ton of damage. As he mentioned, be unfortunate if Mouse was to fall down here early, a power pawn active. Let's take a look at our duo lane now. We can see Rob Diggity feeling the pressure here early from Subfloor and Swayer, which you would expect Sobek and Kyron going to be a very, very aggressive lane.
Yeah, there's not much you can really do with Kyron. Even with the Kepri and getting a nice abduct, the Swayer will do a very good job of just supporting Subfloor and ensuring that he can get the tail whip off and stops Tomahawk from doing any sort of effect with the abduct.
Ro and Achita, they go and steal the back right camps from Avant Garde, showing off some of their experience. You know, knowing the battles they can take and the ones they can't take, going ahead and taking away some experience. What Pandamonium's game plan needs to be in this one is just basically shut down Mouse. Make sure he doesn't get to that late game stage where he can really carry this team.
Yeah, they need to also ensure if he does build the Doom Orb, once that comes online, just kill him as soon as possible, because the more stacks Scylla gets in that Doom Orb, the more powerful the I'm a Monster in those team fights, and that will be the reason that Pandemonium will most likely fall, if they allow Scylla to get fed.
Looks like Mouse preparing to come back in lane here, going a very safe route, and just, he's going to lose out on a bit of farm there, but as we said, that is Ro and Achita's plan, is just to get the Scylla as far behind as possible, as early as possible. The one saving grace, though, that Avant Garde does have is that they do have Liquid Renegade on Thor, who can apply a lot of pressure very early in the game.
Yeah, if Liquid Renegade wants, you can either go to the Fire Giant buff or go through and use that Anvil of Dawn, since there is no wards in either pit right now, making it very easy for a quick rotation with a good element of surprise.
Ro and Achita have hit level 5. Achita does have a knock-up available. His ultimate. Rob Diggity and Tomahawk need to be very careful here. Neither of them have their ultimate. And it looks like a 4-man rotation from Pandemonium for those boards. But instead, Ro just going to steal away the back harpies again, denying a lot of farm and experience to Avant Garde. Liquid Renegade has been sitting on level 4 for about a minute now. No mid camps, no back camps, and no fire elementals for him to farm off.
This is going to be such a huge hurt, especially for the fact that if Achita can get farmed, Soul can actually, I feel like, do a lot more than a Scylla can in the late game. So the further that Soul gets ahead, I feel like Soul will have a greater impact late game. Even if Mouse were to get some more farm now and actually catch up, I feel like it may be all for naught.
Bork's rotating to the mid lane. He's got his wave shoved up against Chuckles, so he can afford to rotate here. Going to take away the mid camp. Sporks is here in case Avant Garde want to fight and looking to cage in someone here, as he has hit level 6. Avant Garde, though, now all have their ultimates online, so they can be a little bit safer taking some fights here.
Yeah, I feel like Avant Garde have some very good early team fights. If they can land a Thor stun with the Anvil Draw as well as the Tectonic Shift into the I'm a Monster in the mid lane, they could easily take out either Achita or Ro, because they're both not that tanky, especially Soul, who's quite fragile early on, even if she can get the Disaparate off.
Mouse looking for the left-hand side mid-camps, but Ro and Achita in the area. He's not going to be able to find terribly much here. Swayer's rotated around as well. I feel like the only problem with Liquid Renegade going with the Anvil of Dawn is that this early on, Mouse isn't going to have that much follow-up to it, which is really unfortunate because against a Wheelix and a Soul, both with PowerPoint, getting an early kill on either of them would be enough to kind of reset the disadvantage that Avant Garde have found themselves in from being pressured so early.
Yeah, look at Renegade sadly can't just do much. As you said, due to the fact that it's only a level 1 armor monster, and the Crush, even now, the fact is she doesn't have a Doom, or she has nothing up. She only has that ancient relic up, and that's all she has. Nothing else.
Take a look at Sway here. He's gone the Traveler Shoes. A lot of extra gold early in this game. So Traveler Shoes, if you hit an enemy god with an ability, you get 30 gold, and it can only occur once every 90 seconds. So he's going to be looking to get up right in the faces of Avant Garde, hit him with either a tail whip or a sickening strike, just to get himself a little bit of extra cash. What that's going to allow him to do is get just a little bit further ahead than Tomahawk, who's gone the cooldown boots here early. Combined with Sway's Watcher's Gift, he's going to get a lot of early gold, but Rowe picks up the first blood in the right-hand side lane against El Chuckles in concert with Sporks there.
Yeah, that was a great first blood. There was nothing he could really do about it except just accept the fate that he was given.
And that's the problem when you have an Armature Rascal up against an Odin. What are you supposed to do? You can't get out of that cage, especially when Rowe's there as well. Basically, they're just going to be doing damage to you early in the game.
However, over in the duel, I got Subfloor getting super low there, trying to run away from Rob Diggity as the mark of the Golden Crow still persists.
Mid lane now, Tomahawk looking for a way in here just to try and alleviate some of the pressure this wave is going to be feeling up against the tower. Link's Coin, that is the first kill of the OPL this year. You know, pretty standard from what we've seen from Pandamonium in the past. Gank the solo lane, helps Sporks get ahead.
Oh yeah, the Sporks is what they're going to be aiming to get. Like, they get everyone farm. Like, what Pandemonium does, they apply pressure to all points of the map at just the perfect time to take away as much farm from Avant Garde as possible, just strangle them from farm, not allow them to get even their own jungle camps, and just get such a far lead that they just can't possibly lose. They are very calculated when it comes to playing these games.
Mouse has got the Doom online here. Swayer, with the Sickening Strike, tail whips the wave as well. Could have gone for a pluck there perhaps, but didn't want to risk it just yet with Liquid Renegade hanging out in the area. Everyone's power pots have dissipated, so everyone back down to kind of their base stats along with the items that they have. Rowe has gone for the Warrior Taiba and straight afterwards gone for Adventurous Blade, so looking to go the Wing Blade there, some CC reduction, some movement speed and some slow protection.
Yeah, it's very handy, especially the fact that you'll be dealing with Khepri, and the Amaterasu slow coming from the silence. You want to be able to get away as fast as possible. Also, the Sunbreaker will apply a slow if Mark of the Golden Crow is applied to a Wheelix. So she just wants to cover all her bases, be able to really chase down her opponents, get that Jaguar, Rising Jaguar, as well as the Gravity Surge on top of them.
And it also provides movement speed, which is at a premium this year in the jungle without any speed buff available.
Yeah, the speed buff with the speed buff going, it makes it a lot higher.
Oh, Mouse there, plucked in by Rowe, uses the Purification. Tomahawk gets off the Khepri ultimate as well, but Mouse manages to run away from this one. Pandemonium claimed the left-hand side mid-camps.
That was a great job by Mouse there, using that bait. Even though it'll be offline, that was a massive thing. And also the Khepri Revive being used there as well, to make sure, just in case those beads weren't enough, to ensure that Mouse would get away safely and not have to waste all those Doom Orb stacks. And when the farm is so hard to come by these days for Avant.
What it means, though, is that Pandemonium can, where the right-hand side buffs, Rob Diggity forced to jump away for the pressure from Pandemonium. As I was saying, Pandemonium now, with the Purification down on us and the Khepri Revive, could safely invade that red buff there with no real threat of retribution.
Oh, they have so much pressure coming out from the team, from the mid lane, from the supports, even from Chiron himself. They just have enough pressure to easily invade, and now with those two things down, they need to be even more careful when going into their own jungle. If we have a look at the map, look at the wards, like they're all Pandemoniums all the way super deep in Avant Garde's jungle.
Avant Garde's got a couple of wards in the solo lane and two around the Gold Fury there, and we can see a sentry ward now placed on the entrance to mid lane, but nothing terribly much, you know, in terms of offensive warding. Let's go ahead and take a look at our graph so we can see that Pandemonium has built a 3,900 experience difference, 2,000 gold difference at 8 minutes into the game. So pretty steady but impressive climb for Pandemonium.
Yeah, they'll be looking pretty soon for the gold free just to extend that lead even further. They're like waiting for the perfect team fight, just wait for the calm after the storm, and then take that gold free, extend that lead to a reasonable amount so they can make sure that there's no point of return for Avant Garde.
We're looking to build the Heart of the Urchin here. I really like this pickup on supports in Season 3. Just provides every single stat that you really want out of a support that is difficult to find. You get physical protection, magical protection, health, and mana. It's pretty much just a great all-round item for supports, and you can build it pretty much anywhere in the early to mid-game. Late game, it starts to become a little bit less effective just because it takes a while to get those stacks online, depending on how your team's performing, and you've already got a lot of other protections online at that point. Subfloor here getting some poke onto Tomahawk.
Yes, that was some good poke coming out there. As Mouse actually being forced to fall back, as Sway actually tried to go in there on Mouse, but the Sentinel was already popped and he backed out under tower.
Right, let's take a look at our mid lane here. We can see a 3-man rotation from Avant Garde heading towards the Fire Elementals, perhaps thinking to fight Pandemonium. No, as soon as they spot Ro, they decide to head in the other direction. Ro taking a bit of a wander around the Avant Garde jungle here, looking for any farm he can essentially just take away from the Avant boys.
But as that's going on, Liquid Renegade's actually able to pick up the mid camps and get some very nice farm that's very much needed for Avant Garde, as they've fallen quite behind, even with only 1 kill on the board.
The real experience difference here comes between Liquid Renegade and Ro, as well as a Cheetah and Mouse. Both the Avant Garde jungle and mid laners are 2 levels behind Team Pandemonium.
Yes, that's a very massive lead, especially for the fact that it's a Soul, and Soul in the mid game falls down a little bit. Actually, El Chuckle's going in there on Sporks using that Heavenly Reflection.
Doing a lot of damage there to the Pandemonium solo laner, but he's able to walk out of that one A-OK, Odin early game. Really not going to fear too much from the Amaterasu. Both of these guys have gone very similar starts. Sporks choosing the Bluestone Pendant over Amaterasu's Death's Toll, but other than that, builds are exactly the same with Warrior Tabe and Breastplate of Valor, just allowing those solo laners to use their abilities early on and get some protection against their opponents.
Liquid Renegade actually looking to try and see if they can do anything about Ro taking the red buff.
Not going to really be able to find anything here. The Tail Whip knocks up Liquid Renegade. Road pulls him in. The Iron Monster from Mouse, but Ochita picks up Liquid Renegade pretty much for free there. Pandemonium, 2nd kill on the board.
Yeah, that was not much Avant Garde could actually do. As you saw from Mouse, even with a 41 stack Doom Orb, he did nothing to them. They were so tanky just because they have such a huge advantage in both levels as well as item progression, just due to the fact that the gold lead.
4-man siege here on the left-hand side from Pandemonium, looking to take away tower from Avant Garde. Rob Diggity takes a lot of damage there. There is El Chuckles using the ultimate Ro, forced to jump away. Chuckles doesn't get the stun onto Ro, who uses his Sanctuary. Chuckles in Swayer's Sobek ultimate, gets a lot of damage onto him, and Subfloor gets a good amount of poke onto him as well. It is a 5-on-4 situation here. Mouse gets off a crush, but doesn't manage to hit anyone. Liquid Renegade is on his way back, but Pandemonium, wisely recognizing that it's best to back out of this one, retreat into their own jungle.
Yeah, this could be actually quite an interesting time if they want to try and set up the Goldfury, but Sporks and Swear having a look at the Goldfury, just keeping an eye on it, but they're not actually doing anything on top of it.
Yeah, that was a smart call there by Pandemonium. Have 2 people continually checking out the Goldfury. Mouse plucked in there by Swayer, uses his Purification and Sentinel to get away there.
That is just another 155 seconds for them, for Pandemonium to really want to go deep on Mouse and deal with it. Subfloor able to pick up a kill actually on Rob Diggity.
Soloed over in the Joy lane. Rob Diggity falls there to Subfloor. Chiron puts out a lot of damage. These are things that we know.
Oh yeah, Chiron will put out damage. I also went the Death's Toll and Ichabod to really want to box out of here, because usually Mark of the Golden Crow makes it very hard for other ADCs to box him out. But with that Ichabod and Death's Toll, Chiron will have a lot easier of a time to actually try boxing out Rob Diggity's Huyi.
And it's kind of, you see 2 schools of thoughts on how to play Chiron. You see the Transcendence build, which is to do a lot of ability damage, and then you see this build, the Death's Toll, basically kind of your old ADC build, which is just, you know, try and put out as much damage in auto attacks as possible. And I feel like that's a smart route for a Chiron to take against the Hou-Yi. Hou-Yi, while his auto attacks do damage later in the game when Mark of the Golden Crow is leveled up a lot, early in the game he's more ability based. We can see a fight going over here in the right hand side. Mouse pulled in by Swayer. Rogue gets the ultimate off. There is the Kepri revive onto Mouse, but he's not low enough to really have made that one worth it. Chuckles dashing away from Pandemonium there. There is the crush up by Mouse. Hits no one, and Chuckles walls into the Ring of Spears. He's got nowhere to run. Soul ultimate comes down. Sunbreaker as well from Rob Dignity, but Chuckles will fall to Sporks here, and now Mouse as well, taking a lot of damage. Subfloor gets him with the snipe. Avant Garde need to disengage. Sporks jumps under tower. Liquid Renegade takes a lot of damage, but Pandemonium get 2 kills for free.
And this looks like actually will be a tier 1 tower in the mid lane as well, will fall. I know someone getting blocked there by Swayer.
And he gets knocked up. Rogue up the kill again, and Pandemonium, a flawless siege of the tier 1 tower, and pick up another kill on their way. 6-0 reads the scorecards, and we take a look at our graphs. It's 7,200 experience, 4,200 gold, the lead for Pandemonium.
Yeah, that is not just a tier 1, not just a couple more kills. They also got a passive for Odin, because they actually were able to kill just at the right time for El Chuckles to fall in the Odin cage, giving Odin that extra little bit of physical power over Amaterasu.
Looks like Sporks teleporting back to his own lane now, just going to go back, arm up, play the typical solo laner game. There's a nice juicy minion wave there for him to push under the tower. Gold Fury still not looked at by either of these teams yet. Bit surprised Pandemonium haven't taken a look at it, considering they have 2 auto attack based gods in Chiron and Soul that really make taking that Gold Fury a little bit easier. They've got Sakura as well in the Sobek ultimate. It seems like they've got a really good team comp for trying to take that objective away.
I feel like that's just Pandemonium's playstyle, where they want to make sure there can be no risk when taking an objective, and they knew there could be just a slight possibility that Avant Garde could come in from behind or from the front and just take it easily. So they just want to wait for the perfect team fight when they're closer to the Gold Fury possibly, and then take it when it's a lot easier and more secure to take.
In all of these fights that have been happening, Pandemonium's taken the initiative and really forced the issue when Avant Garde hasn't wanted to. What does Avant Garde need to do to get themselves back into this game?
Just farm up and like try and keep the Scylla alive for as long as possible, because she actually died in that team fight. That means she lost half her Doom Orb stacks. And for a mid laner, that is devastating. This is basically like Heartseeker meta, where if you lose half your stacks, you're basically putting yourself at a massive disadvantage.
So protect Scylla, you believe, is the key point to getting Avant Garde back into this one. But the Scylla doesn't come online until quite late. What do they need to do to win the next team fight?
Ensure they don't get all trapped in the Odin cage, and they need to space themselves out. They keep getting core grouped together, and then they just also don't have the ward vision in their own jungle to actually protect themselves, while Pandemonium have all the vision in their jungle with only one ward around the XP camp on the right-hand side for Avant Garde. While Pandemonium has actually 2 sentry wards and a couple of other wards sitting around
in
very
the
deep
solo lane.
Avant Garde's
Chuckles
jungle.
forced to use his ultimate there as Sporks ages him in. Chuckles taking a lot of damage, just waiting to get out of the cage. Rowe not letting him go anywhere. Chuckles manages, though, to dash away under his tower and just barely avoid another kill for Pandemonium.
That was great work by Chuckles. They're able to get out of that cage. I feel like it's mostly the Heavy Hammer doing the work of giving that extra little bit of help. Tomahawk trying to do something, but Sporks and Rowe don't want him anywhere near that lane, lunging and the Jaguar hitting him as well.
The Tomahawk just, staying there. He's pretty safe at the moment, can afford to push away under, takes a poke. One thing to note about Tomahawk here is that he doesn't have any health online. Subfloor taking a lot of damage though from Liquid Renegade and Rob Didi as well as Mouse. He's in the Centaurus ultimate, but Mouse gonna go ahead and pick up a kill, and that is something that Avant Garde will want. If anyone they want to get the kill, it's gonna be Mouse, the late game carry.
Oh, that is a huge kill. He's also now back to 50 stacks on his Doom Orb again, so he can go around and actually apply some damage in these team fights now with the Sikkim Crush Armor Monster combo.
Righty, mid lane here, Swayer and a Cheetah just pushing up the wave. That Rob Didi started up the Gold Fury. No, just going to be poking that one out a little bit there. Testing the waters to see Pandemonium's reaction.
Yes, but Swayer will be lurking in the water, so he does need to be careful if he wants to try and go on that Gold Fury, because otherwise he will get plugged and he will get destroyed by the rest of Team Pandemonium.
Looks like Avant Garde are going to get their second red buff of the game here. Rowe wants to contest this one. Avant Garde need to be careful how they engage in this fight as a Cheetah and Sway in the area. And in fact, they're just going to give it straight up here. Allow Pandemonium to take that one. They try and get the steal there. And it looks like the Renegade picks it up with a double tap. Rowe doesn't get stunned out by Subfloil. Chuckles is here. Sway's down in the ultimate. Sporks is teleported in. And it's a 5-on-5 team fight situation here. Avant Garde, Pandemonium, both with a Mexican standoff, just looking for the other one to make a slip-up, a mistake here, but it's not going to happen. Liquid Renegade gets a stun and a double tap onto Sporks, but he manages to shield himself there and take 0 damage.
Well, with both Centaurus as well as locking the borders down, they have actually a 3v5 ultimate advantage coming out from Avant Garde. So if they want to engage, might be the right time to actually do it, due to the fact they have the Kepri revive.
Looks like that Kepri is in trouble though. Tomahawk taking a lot of damage from Sporks and Rowe. There is the cage. Tomahawk doesn't even use his ultimate to save himself. Subfloor takes him down there, and now another member of Avant Garde has fallen. It looks like Pandemonium want to finally claim this left-hand side tower. It's only Rob Diggity underneath defending, but the rest of Avant Garde is in the area. Sporks taking up the tower with his shield, just allowing Subfloor to get some damage off Swayer up in the face of Avant Garde, not allowing it to do anything. Rob Diggity gets a Sunbreaker off Liquid Renegade. It's up in the sky, looking for some setup for Mouse, but there isn't a spot for him to really go in. Anywhere he goes in, Pandemonium is spaced out nicely to prevent him from getting off the stun, but now Pandemonium again regrouping to take this tier 1 tower.
There is nothing I think Avant Garde can do. The Pandemonium are going to easily take this tier 1 tower with both Soul, Chiron, as well as a Wheel. Like, that tower is going to fall very quickly, and as well that forces Avant Garde to back under the tier 2 and try their best to defend it.
Swayer goes for a pluck there. It's a knockup, and Mouse forced to use the purification there. Swayer takes a lot of damage here, but Subfloor does a ton in return. Liquid Renegade picks up Swayer, but now the Soul ultimate comes through. Rob Diggity falls to Rowe. Sporks forced to back away here as the tower does a ton of damage to him. Chuckles up in the face of Rowe as he's looking for Mouse, just preventing him from doing any damage to his mid laner. But Rowe gonna dash away to the tier 2. No, Liquid Renegade walls him in. Great sanctuary there from Rowe to prevent any further damage coming through. Pandemonium claim the tier 2 tower. They just got 2 towers there for the price of their support. They will be calling very much worth.
Oh, that is an extremely good pickup for them. Also, I feel like they get a kill on with Odin Cage as well. Pretty sure they also got one of those as well. So that's just more passive stacks for Odin, which you will love.
I thought Pandemonium might have gone for the Gold Fury there, but wisely choosing to back out without any frontline to really zone out here. Avant-Garde forcing them away off that one, but let's take a look at our graphs again. We can see XP 12,000 and gold 7,000 in the favor of the defending champs, Team Pandemonium.
Yeah, this is the start of the point where you feel like, can Avant-Garde actually come back? Like, I don't know if they can actually come back from now at this point. Like, it's starting to get very, very big delayed.
Take a look at our player damage here, and we can see Subfloor well on top with 6,500 compared to the rest of his team, but El Chuckles has actually been doing a surprising amount of damage, 6,000. Amaterasu, he's really been kind of doing his best to get into the face of Team Pandemonium to prevent them from getting onto his backline, but thus far hasn't really worked out for him.
He has been able to actually get Bomb in the Soul, and he's actually the highest level when it comes to Avant-Garde, however, over the Gold Fury.
The Gold Fury now, started up by Pandemonium. Sporks jumps into Avant-Garde. Rob Diggity forced away here. El Chuckles, again, getting in the face, uses the ultimate. Pandemonium, though, secures the Gold Fury. Chuckles doesn't manage to get off a stun. There's a crush from Mouse, but Liquid Renegade takes a lot of damage. He's forced to go up into the sky, but Ochita gets him. Mouse with the Iron Monster ultimate doesn't claim anyone. Ochita has got himself a double kill. Tomahawk and Mouse forced to run away now. Pandemonium forcing the issue here with Avant-Garde. Tomahawk knocked up Sporks, looking for the kill, hits him with the Bird Bomb. Tomahawk takes a lot of damage, and Sporks claims it. Subfloor with a Centaurus Snipe, not going to find it. Mouse has got nowhere to go. Swayer claims his first kill as an Oceanic Smite Pro player, and now Pandemonium looking for the Phoenix.
And as they're going in for the Phoenix, they go both Soul and Chiron just absolutely melting this Phoenix with the unstable manifestation coming out, with a Rob Diggity trying to stop it, but forced to dive bomb away as he is unsafe due to the fact it's 4v1. 5v1.
5v1, Liquid Renegade just respawning now for the Avant-Garde boys. XP and difference still in the 5-digit lead for Pandemonium, just absolutely dominating in this one. I just don't know what Avant-Garde can do to come back in this one. Pandemonium's team comp just seems to not allow them to do anything, really. Like, it's hard to put into words just how countered Avant-Garde is seeming to be.
Yeah, they're just trapped in the cage. Even if you have that bonus kind of move speed from Amaterasu, if you're in a cage, all you can do is run around a little faster. And Roy's been doing an incredible job of going into the backline, diving deep, getting those really great gravity surges at the furthest point, and really talking with his team to get Sway to get the tail whip into the gravity surge. I don't, as you said, like, can Avant actually do anything to stop this team lineup?
It's very weird to hear Avant-Garde on the back foot in an Oceanic Smite Pro game. Giant now being watered up nicely by Pandemonium. Chuckles is here, not too deep. He still has his tier 1 tower available, but relatively deeply considering where the rest of his team is positioned. Liquid Renegade, Rob Diggity on the left-hand side. Pandemonium, again, just taking away all the jungle and farm from Avant-Garde.
Yeah, if we actually have a look at the levels, compare Cheetah and Mouse, it's 5 levels. 5! That is such a huge difference that you can't even compare. Like, Mouse is not doing anything in this team fight just simply because he hasn't had the farm. And if we have a look at Soul, she's already stacking the Book of Thoth while they take the tier 1 tower in solo lane.
So I just looked at Ochita, and when you said 5 level difference, I thought he was on level 9 and Mouse was on level 14, because it's still a 5 level difference. I'm like, how is Ochita so far behind? And then I saw the 1 in front of it, I was like, oh, it's the other way around. All right,
yeah,
so
that's the scary part. Yep.
Yeah,
and
tier 2
actually
tower on the right hand side, being sieged down by Pandemonium. Chuckles is trying to body block for his tower, but takes about half his health there. Tomahawk goes for a pluck, but doesn't get anything. Rowe pulls him in here. Tomahawk about half health. There is the Sporks ultimate there. Down goes Tomahawk. His ultimate does come off onto Liquid Renegade. Mouse doesn't hit anyone with his ultimate. Liquid Renegade falls down, and Chuckles plucked in here. Down he falls to Rowe, who's got himself a double kill. Mouse falling back under his tier 2. Rob Diggity in the left-hand side takes the tier 1 tower, but it's not going to be enough because Pandemonium are going to continue pushing here. Mouse cannot defend it. This Phoenix, 2 Phoenixes down. Rob Diggity wisely backs, but this could be the game for Pandemonium.
I feel like that's it, yeah. Once you get 2 Phoenixes down, especially on both the duo lane and the solo lane side, there's not much else you can do about it. You'll have 2 lanes of fire minions. I don't know if Avant can actually stop it. Oh, Rob Diggity!
Very nice double tap there onto Subfloor, picks up the kill there onto the AD carry of Avant-Garde. Great stun into the double bounce.
Yeah, that was a good thing. And also Rob Diggity forced to use the Sunbreaker to try his best to defend that tier 2 tower, the last tier 2 in the entire game for Avant-Garde, while 5 towers still remain on Team Pandemonium's side.
Fire Giant going to be the next objective for Pandemonium. They've all got a large amount of gold in hand at this point. Going to go back and buy up some final items here and just putting themselves even more unkillable and doing more damage to Avant-Garde. If we take a look at our builds, we can see Ochita finish that Obsidian Shard. That combined with his Shoes of the Magi are going to give him a lot of penetration here. Ro has gone into the Mantle of Discord, so he's going to make himself even safer for when he decides to dive the backline of Avant-Garde. I just don't know what Avant-Garde could do to possibly win here. What they need is, I feel, for Mouse to get an amazing ultimate off, but he just doesn't have the damage online to really make an impact.
And it seems like he might be building into a spear now, but I would like be looking possibly to try and build a Soul Reaver, just try and get like that extra little bit of damage out even though you don't have the magical power. Because I don't know if the spear will be enough to even deal with the fact that Team Pandemonium is just outputting that much damage. Like the pen won't do much.
Yeah, the spear is definitely, a Spear of Desolation is definitely an odd choice for me, especially when your team is just not picking up the kills. When you're the one on your team getting kills and your team is actually getting kills, it makes sense then because you're resetting your cooldowns often. When that's just not happening for you though, you really need to be looking into another direction.
And while that's going on, Team Pandemonium have actually started up the Fire Giant with both Soul and Sporks and Subfloor.
We have Fire Giant now, bursted down by Pandemonium. It's under half health. Avant-Garde trying to rush in here and force them off, but it looks like Spork is going to cage in 3 members of Avant-Garde. Chuckles using the ultimate here. Tomahawk taking a lot of damage, but so is Sporks from the Sunbreaker ultimate. Liquid Renegade gets a good stun and double tap onto Subfloor and Ochita. Tomahawk forced to revive himself, but immediately falls down to Ochita. Rob Diggity sticking to Sporks. He should be able to pick him up in a second, but the rest of his team is dying all around him. Bout goes up in the ultimate. Can he find anything here? He still waits, but he misses it. Rob Diggity picks up Sporks in the meantime. Left-hand side, Phoenix is going to fall down for Avant-Garde again. 5 minutes are running into the base. Ochita picks up Chuckles. Liquid Renegade needs to back before the Titan is going to fall to the mid. It's down Falls Mouse, and this should be game. Pandemonium just rushing straight down the mid lane, ignoring the Phoenix, and going to look to end this game.
And I feel like this will be GG for Team Pandemonium as only Liquid Renegade is alive, trying to use a wall to stop them, getting a good double tap and Swayer, but that will be not enough as the Titan is quickly chunked down and looks like this will be the end of the game.
25% health now for the Titan, and even lower. Up comes Tomahawk, but he's not going to be enough to save it. Titan falls down. Game 1 goes to Team Pandemonium.
That was a very good game by Team Pandemonium, showing like how they played last season as Old Avant. They just did an incredible job of completely controlling that game, not letting Avant-Garde actually do anything at all.
Absolutely not. And once again, that was a game dominated by Ro. And we expect this. Ro, a noted player in the scene, noted player internationally as well for his ability to play at a very high level. Take a look at his end slash lane, 6, 0, and 10. There were a total of 19 kills on the side of Team Pandemonium. He was part of 16 of them.
But then we actually have Ochita, who did an incredible job in the mid lane on that Soul and really landing those supernovas in the Odin cage when it mattered.
Alrighty, folks, so that's going to do us for game number 1 of this best of 3 series. Can Avant-Garde bring it back in game number 2, or will Pandemonium make it a swift 2-0? We're going to take a short 10-minute break and be right back with all the action from Team Pandemonium versus Avant-Garde.